Not many people talk about this obscure PS1 racing trilogy I stumbled upon. It somehow combines Gran Turismo light tuning with kart racer charm, packed full of odd humor and... Is that a fucking casino? Welcome to Choro Q. This toy-turned game series, mostly lost to time, is relatively simplistic, and yet is one of the most fascinating racing games I've played. So with me, your nostalgia spirit, Blue Horizon, and our partner in crime, Jay, staring off into space, let's take a deep dive and start the maiden voyage of a new series I'm calling Past Lane, in which we focus on old racing games I find particularly noteworthy. This is a genre I'm very drawn to, so I expect to return to the series often. Anyways, I digress. The name Choro comes from the Japanese Choro Choro, meaning to dash around, and the Q is short for the Japanese Kyuto, meaning cute. The cars were real-life pullback toys for kids, with rubber tires, flashy paint, and vague designs loosely based on real cars. You could even insert a coin into the back to make them do wheelies or donuts, hence the Western name Penny Racers. Though dead in the West, the toys still thrive in the East with more realistic models and mechanical gimmicks aimed now at older fans. The games themselves have a ridiculous amount of other sequels under one of the most confusing naming conventions in gaming history. I'm not kidding you, it spans 15 systems with like 7 different names, but today I'm focusing on the PS1 trilogy, released between 1996 to 1998, 2 of which were only released exclusively in Japan. These lovely little games developed by Tamsoft, yes, that Tamsoft, the devs responsible for hack-and-slash action games that are bursting at the seams with personality. Fuck if I know how they got there, but today we're focused on the late 90s. Now that you get the gist of the franchise's history, how does this actually translate to a video game? Choro Q first and foremost is a pure racing game. No silly abilities, items, power drifts, boost pads. You can't even reset. It's just you and your car driving faster than the rest, and you have to live with your mistakes by taking the drive of shame back up to speed, or turning off your system entirely and going outside. It has a heavy emphasis on customization with swappable parts that actually have unique situational uses similar to their real-life counterparts. We'll get more into all that later, but it's quite fun to progress through the races and slowly improve your vehicle while unlocking new courses until you finally get to the Grand Prix and get to race all the tracks back to back with a championship ranking system. It's a tried and true formula for racing games, and it works. GameFAQs for Choro Q2 has the most wholesome walkthrough I've ever seen, and I think this musing from a Japanese kid in 2002, borrowing his mother's computer to type the guide, sets a good tone for the mentality you're supposed to have while playing these games. Well, I like this game. However, this game is little known. Don't underestimate this game. Choro Q is not a real car. It is a cute and short vehicle, but it slips very often. This car can perform funniest actions, such as jumping real randomly and bumping other cars. However, this is not a baby game. Even though this game is full of weird things, this is a racing game. You can run your Choro Q real fast, in fact, fastest, and paint it cool. After all, this is cute, yet a cool game, so have fun playing this game. Plagiarism for either the whole or the part of this FAQ is illegal. Again, if you rip off my work, you have only seconds to live. Thank you, Japanese kid-san, for your inspiring words. When you first boot up the games and choose your car body, the aesthetics are already quite charming with the chibi, boxy designs not often seen in other games. Turning up the render resolution actually nets you some shockingly beautiful toon-styled graphics, even getting enough detail in there to see logos, such as this iconic silver and red GTR on the grille of this old-school Nissan Skyline. And yes, some might have noticed, you choose the body, and whatever performance or personality is under the hood is then entirely customizable. This means you can drive the literal ramen truck versus the legendary Lancia Stratos, and your car will handle the same once you slot in the parts. Quite cool, and can lead to some pretty entertaining races in the early game where you're close to tying third with the garbage truck. The menu music in these games is charming enough, but once you get into that first race, it's like, whoa. I thought I was starting in the kiddie pool, but I guess call me Max Verstappen because it's sounding like I'm already off to the world stage. Listen to those drums, that electric guitar. Honestly, this entire video, I'm going to try my best to not gush about the soundtrack. It's difficult because it's got some really good songs, and I'm a bit of a soundtrack nerd if I do say so myself. Barbie Beauty Boutique, track 4 on loop, anybody? But okay, still way behind first place by the end of my first race. In fact, it's a struggle to even make it to third place. How do you go from fourth place to podium? Let's pop the hood and look at the upgrade system. We'll enter the shop here, and oh my god. Tire types for different road surfaces, transmission upgrades for higher top speed, brake speeds allowing for faster corner approaches, and even ABS? Do kids know what ABS is? Do my viewers know what ABS is? This game has spoilers that aren't just for show. Look, as a kid, I thought spoilers just made the car go faster, but I wish I played a game like this growing up because it would have taught me the power of downforce on a car. Just take a look at what it was like to drive on this ridiculously bumpy mountain course without a spoiler. Now, here's that same course with one. You see the difference? It's insane. But believe it or not, some of this has a link to the real toys. The more sophisticated models actually had mods and accessories you could install, including the ability to swap out the pullback motors, or even use a motor that had its own 2-gear system as it sped up. What will the Japanese think of next? You've also got to be careful to not invest too heavily in one category. Lightning McQueen tires with a stock engine will get you nowhere, and conversely, a beefy engine with regular old commuter tires is a surefire way to want to powerbomb your couch. Worth mentioning too, this game is very spin-out heavy. Just like that Japanese kid said earlier before the failed assassination attempt, you have to let go of the accelerator as you make those turns, or else you really start to drift and lose so much speed. This is actually where the main criticism for this entire trilogy stems from. It's actually hard, and a lot of people whine about how the cars feel because you need to baby them compared with most racers. But once you get the hang of it, like any car, or any game for that matter, you know how to make it work. If anything, I actually applaud Tamsoft for remembering the short wheelbase design of the toy cars and thinking to themselves, how would these things actually drive? In real life, the closer your front and back tires are to one another, your wheelbase, the squirrelier your turning is, and the less control you have at higher speeds. Plain and simple. Elegant implementation, and gives you an excuse to add a unique feeling to your unique looking cars. What's not so elegant is this. Yeah, you can't reverse. Tamsoft, in their enlightenment of just follow the principles of the real toys, thought it best to just not include a reverse gear? Because why should you? The real cars can't reverse. Why would a player in a game in which your cars are highly prone to spinouts want to turn back? Yeah, good one. Luckily they added this into Choro Q 2 onwards, so it's more a growing pain of the original. Also, to add to this is something I mentioned earlier, the fact that you can't even simply reset onto the track if you mess up badly, or God forbid fly off the track. No Lakitu here, no time rewind mechanic, even a simple invincible respawn onto the track is non-existent. This never got implemented in any of the games, so it's clearly by intent. Just like it's my intent to let you as the viewer know that if you're still watching and enjoying the Blue Horizon experience, please boop those little like and subscribe buttons because I'm just getting started and I got a lot of content planned. CTA out of the way. One major unintended issue is that the series has a habit of pushing the PS1 to its limits in some areas. They got better at this by Choro Q3 because I couldn't notice a single track that fell below acceptable frame rate. But just look at this dog shit frame rate once you get to the dirt stadium in Choro Q1 or 2. Some stages do actually have shortcuts that are often cleverly hidden, such as this waterfall on the Woodlands track, or this invisible wall in the tunnel track. You can even just use the pit lanes to speed by quicker on the regular race tracks. Seriously, these are massive time savers once you discover them and help even the odds if your parts aren't up to spec, so definitely find them for yourself. You're probably noticing the variety of locales on offer here. I think these steadily improve each game, but really round out by Choro Q3. I mean, that game is a true globetrotter. You visit China, Japan, the Middle East, Central America, a haunted house, drive underwater, visit a castle, you name it, this game has it. Each track even has its own unique countdown. Take a quick listen. Something I don't think I've seen in another racing game until Forza Horizon 4, albeit on a much simpler scale, is that this game actually has a season mechanic as you play, meaning certain courses will actually transition between spring, summer, autumn, or winter versions, represented by the main menu background. Choro Q3 even adds a simplistic day-night cycle, allowing you to select night versions of various courses. All of these tracks necessitate their own type of tires if you want to win. There's racing tires, which are fantastic for handling road or concrete, off-road tires for those dirty back roads, studless tires for snow, list goes on. Not every course is purely one type of track either. It might be listed as an on-road track, but it'll have stretches of underwater driving mixed in, or an off-road course might be broken by strips of pavement, so you should be prepared. There was one course at a resort in particular that, even though it was categorized as a road course, I had a huge leg up selecting the wet tires for that pool section and being able to zoom past first place. The game is full of little aha moments like this that make it actively engaging and almost puzzle-like to learn new tracks and figure out where the best equipment for the job is. I should mention there's even monster truck tires called big tires that, though underutilized in Choro Q2, really shine in Choro Q3, with an entire track dedicated to them, literally called big tires. And they even unlock certain areas in the open world that previously would have been inaccessible. Wait. Open world, you say? Yeah. Yeah. I'm serious. Since Choro Q2, they added a fucking open world area called the town. And later, in Choro Q3, the city. It's home to tons of extracurricular activities such as drag racing to test your fastest car, Gymkhana for putting your drift skills to use, Ken Block I Am Not, ice and dirt challenges, even that casino I mentioned earlier. Let's go check it out so I can live out my virtual gambling addiction in my children's racing game. You're actually incentivized to visit the town and later the city multiple times throughout your playthrough. They unlock new part shops, new body shops, new racetracks, all stuff that can later be conveniently located from the main menu. That handy-dandy day-night toggle will let you visit shops and points of interest on the left or right side of the city that are only available at their respective times of day, such as a secret shop or this random bonfire. I think compared to the town, the city very much shines for these things. It wants you to really take your time to explore and discover all the little Easter eggs Tamsoft's hidden around. There's actually an in-game list of every Easter egg the game offers called the event list, as well as a body list containing all 100 car bodies you can purchase. What happens when you actually get all of those? Well, besides the in-game goodies, there's these mysterious new numbers on the top left, 2 unique codes for both lists. Unfortunately, these numbers are useless now, but if you travel back to 1998, you could have mailed these exact codes to Tamsoft HQ and you'd be eligible to enter for a real-life Choro Q Nissan Skyline GTR. These games are so fucking cool, guys. But in this day and age, I'm glad that Easter eggs still exist, because it means you can interact with your environment in comical ways. Oops. One of the cooler points of interest I randomly found while in the city was a jukebox. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this one. I had to gush about the soundtrack again at some point. It was actually primarily composed by Luna Umegaki, who some might know for going on to compose the Mega Man Zero series. Let's listen to some tunes for a bit. Yo, DJ, spin the vinyl. Are you shitting me? Do you hear that shred? All right. Now that I've gotten that out of my system, I'll mention the regular endgame of these titles. You're effectively finishing multiple Grand Prix against increasingly difficult rival cars. Seriously, what the fuck even is this thing? You then unlock the secret shop that houses the best parts in the game with ridiculously steep asking prices. Multiples of 666, one might say. Here's what the iconic devil parts actually look like in action. Who's your god now? With customizable car parts, swappable bodies housing an infinite combination of paints and patterns, changing seasons, day-night cycles, and free roam areas. I don't know what other racers are doing this much at once in the late 90s, but please, if you know any, let me know your suggestions in the comments below, because I'd love to take a look at other gems, hidden or otherwise. The work put forth from Tamsoft is mind-boggling to me, and they clearly had a ton of fun putting these games together, especially when it all culminates in Choro Q3. If you couldn't tell from the video, if you had to play one of these, I'd certainly recommend the third game. It has the world's greatest hits of everything that worked in Choro Q1 and 2, with more polish, better frame rates, a ton of unique content. Thank God for fan translators. These guys are often unsung heroes, but mean so much to the gaming community and help us enjoy quirky little games like this. Even if these titles never rose to the ranks of other famous racing franchises, it's just gorgeous to look at in my opinion. Anyways, thank you, dear viewer, for watching. Unlike these games, I know YouTube's never a race, but I do feel for my ceruleans when I have long gaps in my uploads. So thanks for being so patient with me and even continuing to participate over in the Discord. Link to that, for those curious, is in the description below this video. Honey bunches of Otsu, I'll see you guys next time, and remember to like and subscribe to see me buy a real Choro Q.